Hi, so I didn't grow up in a really Christian family. Like, my parents were Christian, and I was brought up to know that I'm Christian, but my parents didn't like enforce going to church or going to Bible study or talking about anything really. They just kind of like gave me a Bible and that's really it. But I was never brought up in the community or anything. And with going to church, like it was more of like a thing that we would only do on like special holidays, but not really like weekly every Sunday. So I was never able to like develop a sense of like family and community at church because I was never there often enough and my parents never put me in that environment. And so it always just became this like unknown thing. And that's like really hard for me now because I really want to have this relationship with God and I want to grow in my faith. And it's like really hard because I was never brought up with that and never put around people who really encouraged that for me. And that has always been something that I wish I had and I never really did. And then just like going to church was always like this special thing. We'd only go on like Christmas and Easter, and it just never really was like placed to be very important in our family, which is really sad. And I just recently started going with like my friends that I met through high school um, to one of the bigger churches in my town back in Colorado this past year. And that has been really fun, but even with that, it's like really hard to keep up every week. So I guess one question I have would be like, how do you like continue your faith and grow closer to God and prioritize that over everything else in life? Because sometimes it gets so busy, and since I didn't like grow up where it was like prioritized or anything, I just don't know how to like make that first priority in my life, and I don't know how to like um, just set a schedule to where I can like read the Bible sometimes and pray and set time aside for God. Like I was never taught to do that. And that's one of my questions. And then my second question is just like, I guess, what are like ways that you guys and like others have um, planned out your life to set aside like time for God? Um, and like what scriptures do you recommend to read as well? Because um, every time I open the Bible, it's like really intimidating just because there's a lot in there, and I was never like taught to read it, so it was kind of hard to just like jump into doing it all of a sudden. But that's all. Yeah, bye.